So I've noticed as I get older that my friend groups that I had have gotten smaller. I've noticed this years ago, but as I'm transitioning to into an older man, I realize that friends have their own lives, just like I have my own life. I started to notice that in these modern times that we live in, is that I'm speaking for men right now, that men are reminding me more and more, and myself, of Red Foreman from that '70s show. And everybody thinks that Red was just mean. He wasn't, I mean, he was mean, but he wasn't just mean. He had a certain tolerance for people. I mean, he could deal with people for a limited time. And that is where I'm at in my life. I don't mean to come off rude because I'm not a rude person. If I go to someone's establishment, I know that that's not my place. I know that I am a guest and I respect that person. But I also respect my time being out away from my home. I know that I have a car outside of those four walls that I'm in, and I can easily come up with an excuse, or if I feel like I'm getting treated unfair, I could just get in my car and drive home. Back in the day when I didn't have those type of things, like a vehicle, I was stuck. I couldn't leave when I wanted to leave. But as an adult, one of the pros to being an adult is having those options in life. But people work a lot these days. People don't have time to, when the weekend come, have those outings with their friends, or a festival come. The tickets are too high, or people just like, I'd rather just watch a movie at the house, or I'd rather just spend time with the fam. It's not all the time that people just grow and they just detach themselves away from their friend group. It's just that it's tight with money right now. Now, you do have people like me that I really, I'm really not into the big crowds. I'm not into the everybody is doing the same thing. I'm always the guy that want to do something a little different. And it can come off to some people as being boring. It could come off to some people as being, oh, he's just think he's better than everybody. However you want to take it. But if you got to know me and we had a one-on-one, you'll understand that I've seen a lot. I've been through a lot. I've I've been kicked out of parties. I've had the whole parties turned on me and my friends, and it was us against a whole hotel. Like, I've been through a lot of crazy things. And although I'm not the type of guy, I'm very laid back, but the people I hung out with, they weren't. It's almost like, if you guys can remember, if you're old enough, where 50 Cent's group G Unit, where Lloyd Banks was the quiet one. He was the one that was more of soft spoken, and not in a bad way, soft spoken. He was just that guy that you knew that he's watching you. So don't mess with this dude. This dude probably knows more about you than you know about yourself, because he just observed everything. any interview 50 was in or the whole crew was in, he was the most quiet. He was quiet. And I was like that. I did come across goofy as a kid, but I knew when to shut up and pay attention to my surroundings. So if you got to know who I am, you'll know that, this guy he's a cool guy, but he just don't do what everybody else does. And he's going to move to his own beat and drum. So nowadays I see that men are catching up. And I don't think that it's almost like it's by design, because a lot of men that I see that are really pushing away from society, it's not by their choice. Their mind has shifted to, I'd rather just do this by myself. And I'm not saying that it's just the single men. I'm talking about even the family man. Like, he just rather just kick it with his family. When I grew up, when I would watch these TV shows, King of Queens, I'll use them as an example. That show, one of my favorite shows. Doug had his own space at his house, and it was the garage where all his buddies went into the garage, watched the game, talked about life, talked about work, and it was just their man cave or his man cave. But I mean, it was everybody's man cave once you were in there. But it was a place where the homies kicked it. And I'm not saying that people and men are not still doing that, but who has time to kick it? Because at least in the 90s and the early 2000s, it was rough. Don't get me wrong. I watched my mom. She took care of us by herself. I know it was rough, but she still had time, just like a lot of other people still had time to go home, cook, relax, and just watch their favorite TV show, like just do the most that they could with relaxing before they had to get up the next morning and go to work. Nowadays, people are leaving their jobs and they are jumping in their car and going straight to pick up people from Uber, picking up food from DoorDash, Instacart, all of these gig jobs, because they need a second income to help with the bills. And I'm not just saying these people are single. These people they're married, or they have a boyfriend or girlfriend, live-in boyfriend or girlfriend. Or they still live at home with their parents and they're just making extra money so they can get out, possibly. But I use King of Queens as an example because, there was many shows where the guy had their own little spot that they chilled in. And people would come in, bombard the whole area, and they would be looking at them like, what are you doing? This is my time after work to drink, smoke, drink my coffee. But nowadays, men don't do that anymore. As far as I know, it doesn't seem like they do. There's a lot of guys. Men have shifted now. I think to me, it's always been cool to be the loner. Now, does it get lonely being the loner? No, it doesn't get lonely, because there's a difference between being a loner and feeling like you're alone. When you feel like you're alone, is because you need people around. You need to have that secure feel of somebody coming home to you every day. Or, if you have kids, you don't feel alone because there's kids sharing that space with you at the house. But loners can have a family, but when they want to go out and run some errands, they go out and run them errands by themselves. If they need to do something important, they go out and do something important and come back home. I think because men have to step up and be a little different than they were back in the 90s and early 2000s, a lot of them don't have time to really express themselves to other men when it comes down to the time in the day. How much time in the day do they have? And like me, I have a son, I have a girl. And when I come home, and when I say a girl, I mean a girlfriend. And when I see her, I know that, this is where I want to be. I want to marry this woman. I want to make sure my son and her are safe. I want to make sure that I'm a provider. But I might not have time to spend every moment with them, even if we're all in the house, because I got work to do. The time has come where people are craving to live the lives that we were told as children that we were supposed to live. Like, I hear a lot of people online saying that, it was rigged. You guys lied. Y'all said that we would have this. Y'all said that go to college. Y'all said that we'll have a great job after college. And now with AI popping up and, these corporations throwing a monkey wrench in the game to throw you off, it's making people give up mentally. Even myself, sometimes I have breakdowns inside my head like, what am I going to do to continue this ship to sail all the way across sea? Now, is AI going to take over everything? I don't think so. And if it does, it's not anytime soon. You still need plumbers. You know what I'm saying? You still need people to work on your yard if you don't know how to, do yard work. You still have people that need to build these buildings. You still, construction. You still have a lot of labor work, things that only humans can do with almost perfection. So blue collar to me is going to rise up. A lot of people going to be fighting for them jobs than fighting for these tech jobs. I think that we deserve to have that time to ourselves. I know a lot of people I'm just saying, like, men. A lot of men do still want to, be with their brothers, They still want to have those gatherings once a week at one of their friends' house, or have, get-togethers where they might go out to a steakhouse and kick it and talk about life and get a breath of fresh air away from the family for a little bit. People deserve that. Women deserve it as well. But what I'm saying is that there's nothing wrong with being a lone wolf. You know, the friends that I've once had that I know have either moved, have grown their family, meaning, their family has expanded. They are always, gone for work. because they don't work from the city they're from, but they work outside the city, but then come back every so often. You know, there's a lot of people that's making big moves just to make money, just to make things shake. And we just got, we're just at the point where I don't think the older generation understands the millennials and Gen Zs. And I'm going to tell you about Gen Z. Gen Z have like opened my eyes up to even being dedicated to one job. I used to look at Gen Z like they don't really get it, man. Like they missing out. They missed out on they ain't miss out on nothing. Cause they're pretty much our counterpart. They're not that far away from us. Yeah, some of us are pushing 40 or in their mid 40s. But you got some Gen Zs that can put you on game. When I seen that Gen Z are sitting at work plotting to get another job just as soon as they got the job that they're working at now, I used to look at that and be like, man, that's crazy, man. Like, why? I mean, why are they doing that? Like, they just got this job, but you piss them off on day one, they on Indeed or Monster.com or whatever just to find another job because you pissed them off. Or as they call it, the Gen Z stare, I think they call it. Now I know why y'all looking at us crazy at times. Because if it doesn't make sense to them, now we thinking it don't make sense to them because they can't process it in their head. No, they can't process that you've been doing this how long? The old way? And they know how to do it a lot faster. That's why you get that Gen Z stare at times. Now, I'm not going to big them up for everything, but I will big them up for noticing that there's other ways of making income. People are making money off TikTok, money off of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. And although I knew that you can make money off of this, I'm just like, well, I don't want to be on there showing my face and talking about this then just do a faceless channel. Like, I don't think that I'm gonna keep a faceless channel. I'm just doing it now. I'm getting my reps in. I'm getting comfortable. But the modern men are really being tactical. They are really turning their brains back on from the system. And they're starting to find their own jobs, make their own jobs. They're starting to team up with their family to make a family business. They're starting to move away from the machine and live a little bit more frugal, I think. They're trying to take what they have and just roll with what they have and see how long it takes until they need to buy something else to replace that instead of just buying a new shiny thing. This is why tools look rusty back in the day, because these men kept their tools. The modern men, or for the past 10 years, every time something break, they going to go get something else. Or instead of fixing it. Yeah, if something break, of course, you're going to need something new. But I've known people that if a tool breaks, especially a power tool, of course, they'll fix it. Because they just not going to spend the money, because the stuff that you get now is it's not the same type of material. They're not making stuff as strong as they used to. I know I'm getting on a little rant, I'm getting kind of off topic, but I just want to say that men are stepping away from friendship because they don't have the time to build like they used to. And also, some men are maturing faster than their friend groups, and they become the lone wolf, and they either wait until a couple people from their old friend group start to mature and start to realize life is not a joke anymore, and then they'll accept them back in, or they'll be the lone wolf for the rest of their lives. I appreciate y'all listening. I hope this can help. And if not, I'm just glad you listened. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.